Hey, what's going on? And welcome back to 10-Minute Mentor. I'm your host, Rich Perry, joined by my co-host, Ally Sheridan. Ally, what's going on today?
Not much. Excited to get started today.
All right. And I know you're fielding some questions.
Yep.
So what's the first question, Ally?
All right. My first one is how do you handle rejection, especially early on?
All right, rejection. And just for context, we're talking about this in a professional sense. Our audience are young professionals, but paint the picture a little bit for me. So, what kind of rejection might we be looking at? That way, we can get a little bit, little fine tuning with the answer.
Yeah. So I'd say like early on in your career when you're applying to jobs, getting
Oh,
rejected to those.
okay, I gotcha. All right. So Allie, remember in a previous episode, I think the question that you had something along the lines of what's something that I wish that I could have done better, or what's something that I wish I would have done differently.
Yeah.
And one of my answers was I wish that I had double majored, right? So I'm painting the picture now. So in that experience, in that story, I was talking about the fact that I only majored in psych, even though I took a lot of electives that were in like the marketing, multimedia world. I told you that I was very active in college radio, um, and promotions and marketing really spoke to me. Like those are things that I enjoyed doing. And then when I graduated, uh, for whatever reason, I kind of went down that path, even though I had that psych degree. Those are the things that I was really interested in. And I remember applying for a couple like promotions jobs. Again, going back to record label experience and working at the college radio station. And early on, yeah, I remember getting rejected and, being fresh out of college, you really don't have as much experience. And so a lot of employers were looking at, well, why do you want to work for, this record label or this promotions agency? You have a psych degree, right? Why didn't you major in marketing then? And I remember like being disheartened, right? How do I deal with rejection? Um, I probably like sulked for a few minutes. That's probably like a non-healthy response, but I mean, sometimes you got to grieve a little bit, right? You got to let out that frustration or whatever. Um, One of the things that I've always done is I can be I'll I use the word stubborn, but I know that's not like a healthy word. So more determined. Like
Mhm.
I know that I'm good, and I know that I could be a great record label promoter or an event promoter. Like I'm just going to keep doing it, and I would just find other opportunities to add on to or build up my resume and my experience. So in that regard, I would say one thing that I continued to do was stay focused on what it was that I wanted to do, to be determined, to keep going after it, and almost like not taking it personally. Okay. I think a lot of times when we're rejected, whether it's rejected for a job application, to serve on, you apply to be a speaker somewhere or a panelist, or you're trying out for the team, or you're trying to get on with this project, this collaborative effort, or whatever. And someone says, no, I'm not interested, or no, you didn't make the team, or you didn't make the cut, or whatever. Like a lot of times we'll take that personally and look down on ourselves or think, oh, I'm not, blah, blah, blah. I would encourage folks not to take it personally, to look at the experience as what is something that I can do better tomorrow, right? Maybe my job, maybe that application really didn't sing to that employer, that hiring manager. Okay, well, what are some of the things that I could do to fine tune that resume? Or maybe I didn't have the experience that was needed. So, okay, what are some activities that I can get involved in, or what are some things that I can do to really bolster that experience so that next time when I'm in that interview, I can speak to it and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I have experience here. Or when I last interviewed for your company, I recognized that I didn't have the experience. However, it's been a year later, and these are the things that I've done since then to really be able to showcase myself, because I went back in and improved myself, right? Another thing would be to, and this is like a mindset shift of, rather than looking at it as a failure, look at it as an opportunity to gain feedback. Okay. Like, it might not have been the feedback we were looking for, but it was still feedback that we can then use to improve on that area. Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious to you, like, I'm curious, in your world, Allie, like what's something that you've done as a young professional, to, um, like you said, accept that rejection, but use it as an opportunity to grow past it and improve. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, definitely right now, applying, trying to get a job post grad, there's definitely going to be a lot of rejection with that. So I'm trying to deal with that, but I'm just trying not to take it personal, just trying to improve like their feedback. It helps me. Yeah, just trying to keep putting myself out there, not get discouraged. Like, it's going to happen. I might not be a good fit for them, but I might be a good fit for somebody else. So yeah, just not taking it personal and just keep trying.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wish I was a better sports person, because I'm just not. But I know that there's a cool anecdote for our baseball fans out there, and I know that I'm gonna butcher this anecdote, just because, whatever. But I mean, think about someone who steps up to the plate, right? You're in baseball, swinging, 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 right? If you've got like a what is it, a 200 or 300 batting average, like, you're pretty much doing great. But
Yeah.
what does that really mean is you've only gotten a hit 3 out of 10 times, right? I mean, that's not great odds, but in baseball, you just have to keep stepping up. I know that if you search online, folks, you can find a much more succinct and impressive way to collect that anecdote and really make it meaningful. I know that I butchered that anecdote. However, it is true. Like, you just have to
Mhm.
keep stepping up, swinging, um, and that's that, right? But I do want to, before I move on, Allie, did you have anything else that you wanted to say or shout out or anything like that?
Um, Not really, just something else is I like to think of it as rejection is redirection. I like to think
Ooh,
that, yeah. So if that place isn't a good fit, it's directing you into where you belong. So
very cool. I do like that. Rejection is redirection, right? And where'd you get that from, if I might ask?
I think I've just seen it online and it helps.
All right. Very cool. Well, you got to take those bits of inspiration,
Yep.
wherever they may come, right? So, folks watching at home, our young professionals that are watching at home, make sure that you're shouting out your college, drop it in there. We want to know where you're watching from, what school you represent. And also, too, if you've got a question, whether it's about this topic or in the comments as well. Allie and I will be monitoring the chat, the chat thread, and we'll answer those questions. And if it makes a good question for a future episode, then we'll also answer it here on 10-Minute Mentor. And if there's any baseball fans out there, like my dad watching maybe, or my brother or something like that, don't hate me. I apologize for messing up that anecdote, but hopefully I was able to communicate that information. Definitely a swing and a miss, but what are you going to do? So, Allie, thanks for hanging out with me here on 10-Minute Mentor. Folks, see you in the next episode. Talk to you soon. Thanks, and be excellent.